Welcome to Goonies World. I am Goonie, also known as Colin, and I am joined, as always, by Meanie, also known as Ryan.
Hello.
And Johnny Farrow, also known as Sean.
Hey, hey, hey.
And once again, Loonicorn, also known as Lynn.
Hello.
And as you can see, we're playing the game Goblin Quest!
Yeah, this is a Grant Howitt game, and we often have. I don't know if we've ever done any of his stuff on the show.
Yeah, we
did. I know we've played
Sexy Battle Wizards, at least.
Oh, Sexy Battle Wizards.
Maybe one other, but yeah.
And of course, we've done several of his things just for fun in our own time. But yeah, Goblin Quest I thought looked pretty fun. And normally when we do something, this is sort of like Fiasco with more rules, is a good way to put it, because like it's kind of GM-less. I'll be facilitating like I kind of do when we play Fiascos, but no, not really running anything. I mean, we'll go around the table taking turns setting up scenes and trying to do stuff, much like as in a Fiasco. And normally when we do Fiascos or have done them on the show, we do the setup, offline and then sort of explain it. But I thought it would be fun and maybe an interesting experience for listeners who maybe have not played this type of game or whatever to sort of hear, how this sort of setup goes. And the sort of collaboration and compromise and things. So we will be creating our goblins. Well, I think Lynn said she already had. Well, and I've done a little bit as well. I did choose, an honorific and stuff, and since like Colin may have as well. But I have not named all my stuff or picked out my feature and stuff. I did go with the honorific Squeak Bum. That is going to be their surname, but I haven't named my other goblins yet. Well, and the reason I wanted to go with Squeak Bum, I should mention, is because I believe I would like their quest or their contribution to the quest to be the Who Firefarted quest.
Okay.
And I'll just read that briefly. It says, someone burned down the hut containing all the wooden spears and bows and arrows, too. To find out who did it, the chieftain had summoned a truth seeker, a scary, wise goblin woman who talks to spirits. She can tell when you're lying. The problem is, you did, when you were having fun lighting your farts on fire. How can you blame it on someone else? I thought that sounded sufficiently funny and juvenile for the podcast, so I thought that would be an interesting start, but I still need to go and pick expertises and whatnot and name my goblins, so I'm going to start doing that. Does anyone has anyone else figured out a quest that they thought sounded interesting? Or
I haven't figured out a quest. I mean, not really. I kind of have. My honorific is of the Fowler clan, but goblins are really dumb. So they got Fowler confused with Flower. So my 5 goblins are all named after flowers. I've got Daisy, Lily, Iris, Rose, and Lavender. And I'll talk about all their defining features. But this may kind of coincide with yours. The Flower clan they're all obsessed with, they want to, maybe they saw a wizard do it once, I don't know, but they want to make pretty flowers in the sky out of fireworks. Us humans are out of fire. Us humans know that as fireworks, but they don't know that. They're just obsessed with, their expertise is in making fire. Their quirk is that they all have flowery physical features. And their dream is to make flowers in the sky with fire. And their ancestral heirloom is the sacred flint and steel. So if you guys want me to go on while you continue to think, I can give you my physical features real quick, or if someone else wants to take over.
Well, when you mentioned your dream of, flowery fireworks in the sky, actually you had, written that down before we started playing.
Yep.
So I kind of looked at this map here because I didn't have I did kind of skim through the other written quest ideas that was provided, but I thought you're just in order to get the fireworks and stuff, that could be a fun quest, just for everyone. Of course, we can combine what everyone else wants to do, but there's all kinds of things looking at this map where we could go to possibly get fireworks or something to make fire. There's let's see here. There's the camp defenses. It shows a bunch of TNT and stuff. So I'm sure there's powder, black powder and stuff there. And there's also something called the magical explosion testing grounds.
Ooh.
Could go there. There's also something I can't really read very well, but something about that's never mind. But there's also an inn, the Dun Inn, where the bugbears hang out, and I think I saw that they you could barter for stuff there or whatever, so we could perhaps get something to start fire and something for explosion there. So there's all kinds of options, fun things to do in order to fulfill your dream.
Cool.
And
well,
go ahead.
Well, I was going to add on to that by saying that while you guys were discussing stuff, I filled out that first of all, the Squeak Bum's quirk is that they are all impressively stupid, and they dream of being a celebrity. And their heirloom, I decided, was the lid of the great fart jar of the elder, who was elder, of the goblins 2 weeks ago. So I think they think, lighting some kind of fireworks in the sky with their farts is going to be a great plan.
Definitely.
Yeah, I hadn't done any prep at all, really, because I was we're going to prep during the episode. But before you even just said that, when we first started talking about quests, I wrote down fart rocket, make a fart rocket, go to the moon and get some green cheese, which is not totally unrelated. I was thinking of powering the rocket through farts, though. If we could somehow, but any way to get up there, so. Certainly, between Ryan and I, there's a fart connection, a flatulence connection.
Could we somehow steal, get into what are the areas that have these fireworks and steal a bunch of them, somehow make a fart rocket, and take it to the moon, launching the fireworks en route to the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also think that one goblin should write a song called "The Fart Connection." Like
Rainbow Connection.
why are there so many songs about farts?
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right.
Sounds like a job
That's
for
right.
Ryan or Sean.
I think Ryan's got the. You got the assignment. That's what you get for getting 1,000 plus views on the Looper Callus, video we've got on YouTube for the song you did there.
Well, I'm happy to lend my Kermit the Frog voice.
Oh, totally.
Well, if you can't do the voice,
I don't know if I can do Kermit.
I think we got.
someday we'll find it. The fart connection. The
think you
dreamers,
guys- you just
the
thought-
lovers, the dreamers, and me.
Just auditioned yourself into it. I mean, we're lucky in at least having multiple people around who can do music and be funny. We're embarrassingly rich
so
that way.
what is that the actual Kermit song?
The Rainbow
Is
Connection.
that from the Muppet Show? The Rainbow Connection. Okay, I
I could be wrong. It
Oh,
might have been
really?
written by Paul Williams, who is one of my favorite songwriters.
It was written by Kermit the Frog.
Kermit the Frog.
Kermit the Frog.
Hello, Miss. I can't do
Oh,
Kermit,
Miss B.
I don't think.
Yeah. So
Oh, Kermit.
you haven't heard that song? That is crazy.
I may have.
I actually think it's a
Crazy.
really good song.
No, it is great. I
I'm a
think
big fan of that song.
It is,
I
actually.
could be wrong. It
is.
might have won an Oscar or something. Not that matters. But yeah, Paul Williams wrote a great many, great songs. Some people think it's as good as Over the Rainbow. So if you see the opening scene of the Muppet movie, I think, or close to it, Kermit's playing it in a swamp, sitting on a log.
The banjo.
Oh, okay. Well, I've definitely heard it then because I've seen that movie. So it's probably been, God, 35 years or
Right.
something.
All right.
Yeah, the only problem is farts and they have different syllables, so you have to make fart, draw it out,
You say farting.
or farting. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
These are the types of critical behind the
Give it 2
scenes
syllables.
discussions that go on this podcast that you're now privy to. As we're now looking at the fart behind the curtain. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely the rocket / fireworks thing is a good correspondency between some of our ideas, and then the farts. I'm already jealous of your heirloom with the fart jar of your 'cause the only quirk I had about I don't even have anything but a quest idea and a quirk for my little goblin clutch, which is flatulent or gassy. Not that I want to spend the entire series going.
Like some fucking like Rick from Rick and Morty's in the first season when he just constantly belch talking.
Right. I don't know if I want to, making all kinds of weird fart noises. I can't do a great deal of them, and yeah, so we'll see. But somebody might come up with another better quirk idea for me. The more I get the feeling we'll sit there and converse about all this, and as we've seen already, little things will start to come together, and we can nudge and massage and adjust each other's ideas a little bit. I'll certainly ask for ideas. So I'll start right now for the honorific, which I guess is like your clan name, right? It's like,
Yeah.
just sitting here, I've written down, the first thing I wrote down was bum noggin, but since you already have bum, in yours, I don't want to have too many bums, So I think I'm going to go ahead and axe bum noggin. But I also wrote nut job. I wrote nut job and crapper and boner as honorifics, and I can come up with some more too. But those are just what's floating around the top of my head here.
Those are similar to ideas I had. I think I have mine now, but I had different names with butts and stuff that I eventually discarded. But I like Boner's a pretty good one.
Boner's not bad. Because it's kind of got multiple meanings, right? Because, obviously in Middle American parlance today, a boner can be slang for an erection, but, it also, slightly older usage, it could be like a big mistake, like, oh, I've made a big boner, So, a mistaken erection is a problem I think we've all had to deal with from time to time in life, except for Lynn. But
No, I've never had a mistaken erection before.
Well, but you may have had to deal with one.
Yes, I may have caused one before, but I haven't had.
Now I'm not even sure what a mistaken erection would be. We're like you're driving down the road, and this has happened a few times, like driving to Ryan's house, where there's some colorful characters on Independence Avenue, where from a very far distance you might see a person walking along the side of the road who might look attractive, right? And then the closer and closer and closer you get, then you're like, oh dear God! That might be an example of a accidental.
You forgot what city you were driving.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I forgot about the ravages of meth that led you to be out here walking down the street. But from 4 blocks away, honey, you have got it. No, it's terrible. I'm such a pig. I feel bad now. Okay. But yeah, I've also just written down gut bucket and muncher, but the more I think about it, I like boner. So I think the honorific for my clan will be boner.
Well, I've managed to name all 5 of my goblins at this point. We have Wank, who is corpulently fat. Spit, who is more slender but bossy. Snot, who is quite sneaky and stealthy, which has no game mechanic effect. It's just for personality trait, I guess. Yank, who has extra fingers on each little goblin-y hand. And then Puke, who is even more flatulent than the normal bum squeaks or squeak bum.
I had a puke as well.
Well, we can have the
Puke,
same.
like
The
in the Bible, you got
That's what we
James and
have
James the
on
Lesser.
record.
You got a Puke and Puke the Lesser. Let's go archaic with it.
Puke the Greater.
Little Puke.
Puke.
Puke the Elder, Puke the Younger, the great goblin historians.
What does it say in the game? Like I skimmed it a bit. Like I said, goblins have like a life expectancy of like 9 to 11 days or something like that. So, which is funny.
And yeah, well, unless they embark upon a quest, in which case their life expectancy, instantly, decreases to probably the next.
Point is, being a
hour.
goblin historian is easy because you only have to go back a few days for most clans.
Well, yeah, like the ancient great fart jar of the elder is like, it's like ancient, but it's like 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah.
it's an artifact from literally 2 weeks ago. All right. Well, are we at a point where we think we can start defining these tasks?
Well,
I don't know. I still have got to I've got to make up my names and my heirloom and what my goblins. I think I'll go with the dream. That sounds good. The fart rocket dream, but I have to come up with their little, what they call them, their expertise or whatever.
yeah.
And all that.
Yeah, their expertise.
Their quirks. While you guys are doing that, I can go over my quirks, and we may want to revisit my ancestral heirloom. I was just, coming up with whatever. But my quirk is that all of my goblins have flowery physical features. So Daisy has a bright yellow button nose. Lily has like a trumpet-shaped nose that is orange with black spots, like a tiger lily. Iris has a fuzzy tongue. Rose has next level acne and rosacea, so she's very red. And then Lavender has spiky purple hair.
And what was your ancestral heirloom?
It's sacred flint and steel.
Oh, okay. So we
So-
have the means of fire.
We do, and that's my expertise is also making fire, but I don't know if that is going to make things too easy, and maybe
No.
I should change that. Okay,
I don't think so. I think because I do remember there's going to be problems, whatever they call them in this misfortunes that we roll on, right? So
right.
there's going to be all kinds of problems,
Well, plus we're trying to send a fart rocket to the moon that makes pretty flowers with different colors as it goes up. So,
yeah, we still
not
have to,
exactly the function of most flint and steel, or even having expertise in fire making does not necessarily guarantee success in that endeavor.
Yeah, and then we might want to add other things we want to do. Like I can see the fart rocket is like the end goal, I think.
Yeah.
And
It would have
we
to
want
be,
to, yeah, and we want to do
So
some
that
other,
would be like our quest, and
Yeah.
then we have to break that down into tasks.
Yeah, and the final, I imagine the final task would be something like launching the rocket, and then the steps of that would be the various things we needed to do to launch the rocket, and also, shoot the fireworks as we were ascending.
Yeah. But I have so I came up with several names, and I was just gonna narrow them down, and I think I have narrowed it down because I've discovered some alliteration that I'm gonna go with. So for my honorific, I'm going with the pernicious. So, I have my expertise is going to be tickling, and my quirk. This will all make sense here in a little bit, but my quirk is that I have, or that all the goblins have horrible allergies. And my ancestral heirloom is, I think I'm going to go with the feather of terrible torture, which is what they used to tickle with. And it's just like a big goose feather, I think. And, but also that because they're goblins and because they're really stupid, they don't realize that their horrible allergies are actually caused by this feather of terrible torture.
Nice.
So my my dream was I picked diplomat to meet interesting people, and then I changed it to meet interesting people and torture them.
With the feather.
Yes, with the feather.
Yeah.
But I kind of also was thinking, like, maybe as a a quest that he would like to, or that they would like to do would be to try to figure out what the source of their allergies is. Not, they're never going to figure it out that it's the feather, but they're going to blame, everything else.
You could have a pollen allergy, blame it on pollen allergies, and it's the fowler / flowers fault.
Yeah, I did think about that as well. Like, the flowers being responsible.
You can blame us if you want.
Well, and maybe they're just all the farting. Maybe they're just allergic to all the farting that's happening.
Could be.
Now, one thing I was a little fuzzy on under the expertise is this what our clutch collectively is good at, or does each goblin have their own individual expertise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a. There are two different. So there's an expertise, and that's a clutch thing, and then there's a unique feature or quirk.
Okay.
And then each goblin gets one of those.
Well, that would be the defining feature.
Okay.
The quirk is also what the clutch has.
Oh, right. Yes.
And-
Yes. I shouldn't have used that word because it's also the clutch.
Also
thing,
a
right,
capital
right.
Q quirk.
Yeah, capital Q quirk. And then, the defining feature, each goblin in the clutch has that, and it can be all different,
Okay. Well, I'm still working on the defining features for the individual goblins. I think the clan, the honorific or clan boner, their expertise is lying. I mean, they're liars. They're just really good at lying. And I think I've got their names, which are Squirts with a Z, Squirts, Fugly, Suck Monkey, Chicken Butt, and Leopold.
I thought about doing 4 ridiculous ones and then a serious one, and then
Okay, good. Glad I did.
So I'm glad someone
Squirts,
did.
Fugly, Suck Monkey, Chicken Butt, and Leopold. Because I'd like to, demonstrate my sophisticated sense of humor in this game, and then, like I said, I think their quirk as a clan is that they're flatulent, they're extra gassy. Their expertise is they're liars. They're just all full of it, and full of hot air, they're liars, and I think that their heirloom is the canned beans of Saint Generica, which is like one of those great big industrial-sized, all white label with just a barcode on it. They sell to institutions of, pork and beans, like baked beans, which they can crack into if they really need to at some point to fuel their extra flatulence should they need it.
Do they have a can
That's going to be funny when they don't, and they're probably going to have to figure out how to open,
Well, that's another, task or whatever for us to.
Oh gosh, that would be perfect. Yeah, perfect for the. That would be perfect for one of the, maybe like, task 2 or one of the early task 3 stages where we have to get the can open to like power everyone up for the fart rocket.
So, with task 1, it says like that's getting the stuff that we need, basically, which I would think includes getting like a can opener, getting some fireworks, or making fireworks. Well, getting the supplies to make fireworks, and whatever else we need. But actually using the can opener to open the can could also be,
problematic.
Preparing for task 2, because task 3 will be doing the actual task, I believe. So we'll have to prepare as much as we can. And so I do have some names as well. And here's where the alliteration is, because my honorific is pernicious. My first goblin I named Porky. And his defining feature is that he has a little pig's tail. And then Goblin 2 is named Peanut. And his defining feature is that he has a unibrow. And Goblin 3 was also named Puke. So, yeah. His defining feature is that he has rancid breath. And Goblin number 4 is Pinky. And Pinky, no, I'm not sure why he's named Pinky, because his defining feature is that he has a malodorous taint.
his goblin-y person is tainted by a malodorous odor, or his goblin-y taint is has a malodorous odor.
Yeah, just his taint is malodorous.
Okay.
Like especially malodorous. I'm sure his ass and his genitals are also malodorous, but the taint, for some reason,
It's all wafting out from the taint.
yeah,
It's tainted.
It's tainted. It's got a tainted taint.
Yeah, that was great. While you're doing that,
Because it's combining the genitals and the anus smell together that are converging onto the taint, and it's wafting out. So
it's lovely.
So, Goblin number 5 is named Plop, and and his defining feature is that he has like waterfalls of loose skin, just like he once was, enormously obese, and then in his short life he must have really, worked out or something to lose a bunch of weight in him. So now he's just carrying around a bunch of loose skin that just is just trailing behind him.
like a bridal.
Yeah, like a bridal, whatever.
Oh, shit. That's great.
So yeah, those are my 5 goblins.
That's great. I needed some inspiration on the defining features, and after hearing, what you guys have come up with, I decided for Squirts, he's juicy. He's juicy. He's just a juicy goblin, and he's might always have like something running down his leg, you know what I mean, or his nose is running. He's just got a lot of excessive bodily fluids. Every fart for him is a shart, you know what I mean, but he doesn't care. 'Cause and then I saw
He's a goblin.
Fugly is. I decided he has an ironic nickname, and as far as goblins go, he's like super, super handsome. Or he is handsome, and the goblins perceive that as ugly, but Fugly is super handsome, and maybe he's a little vain. He might have a little pocket mirror. So I wouldn't want to try to use it for anything, but but he's very handsome. Fugly is handsome, and Suck Monkey has great big like Mick Jagger lips, like great big, and even worse, like collagen injected type huge lips. And Chicken Butt just has a big butt. He's like great big sticky outy. He has to walk like bent forward a little bit. He has a hunch butt. It's so big, And Leopold just wears spectacles. That's just his thing. He somehow got like an old pair of spectacles. They don't really work. Maybe the glass is like cracked in one of them or whatever. And just going with his more serious name. So those are my defining features. And I think with my guys, I think my clutch is together. I've got in the Boner clan, we got Squirts, Fugly, Suck Monkey, Chicken Butt, and Leopold. I've got their defining features. Their dream was like to eat green cheese. So they're going to make a fart rocket and go to the moon. But the fart rocket thing ties in with the quest. Their quirk is that they're very gassy. Got my canned beans of St. Generica. I think my goblin creation portion might be complete unless I'm missing something.
No, it sounds like you're done to me. So in case anybody hadn't noticed, basically each of your goblins, you essentially have what amounts to 2 hit points, each one of them, right? They can take 1 injury without dying, but if they take 2, they're probably dead. So, they are dead. I mean, that's just... And then you just cross them off, and the next goblin, you write down their method of death on their character sheet if you are so inclined, and then basically the next one pops in. and automatically has the heirloom and all that stuff. It's just how goblins work. It's it's a thing. Don't ask questions. So we have gosh, man, it's already been like half an hour. Just getting all that done, so that's good. And we haven't even really started, kind of breaking the tasks down, or defining the tasks and then breaking them down.
Let's do it.
We have? Is everyone done with their goblins and their defining features and names and all that?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
So.
So, we need to gather stuff. We definitely have to get fireworks, and possibly something to make a rocket, or we could just use like a rope to tie all the fireworks together and hope that makes a rocket that also makes fireworks in the sky in addition to taking us to whatever. Because maybe we could just have like chairs like tied to a bundle of fireworks that we then just light farts onto. I don't know.
Yeah, or we could get some balloons and because the question is, the rocket's going to be our fireworks and our mode of transportation, because it'll blow up when they get up there.
I'm thinking that maybe the firework portion is maybe the ignition portion of the rocket, and the fuel, though, is the gas from the farts.
Fart-burning rocket, two-stager. It's a two-stage rocket. So we get a little bit of lift with the rockets, and then we can be like, gentlemen, start farting. And then I don't know. Like how they got guys like shoveling coal into a boiler. It could be, like goblins all farting into the, I don't know, eating beans and farting, and yeah, that's not bad. Two-stage rocket. But we might need some kind of, like you said, Ryan, something to make a rocket out of. Whether it's a bunch of chairs or a great big old cylinder, or, find an old hot water heater. I don't know. How do we house our rocket? What do we put it in? What do we put the fuel in? Because the fireworks themselves, we want to explode once they get up there. So we can't really use the body of the firework.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
What about the fart canister? How big is the fart canister? I mean, how many farts can you fit in there?
Well, it's just I just have the lid.
Oh, it's just the lid.
Oh,
okay.
You just have the lid. I see. So maybe one of our tasks will be to get a suitable a can that is big enough to hold all the fuel that tank. The lid also fits.
Where do we sit?
Yeah. Well, we have to find out what material we're gonna make this with, and we're gonna
figure out how to make a rocket, what to make the rocket out of. We know how we're gonna fuel it. We know we're gonna get it launched, and then we know how we're gonna fuel it from there. We have some fireworks to, distribute on our way up, but we need something to land on the moon in, if we can make it that far. And we may be so dumb that we don't even think about how we're going to get back, But it'll be okay, because we can just eat green cheese up there forever.
Yeah.
And no one can beat us up anymore.
They're going to worry about getting home. It's way too advanced. And, thinking they just can't think that far ahead, I think.
Yeah, if there's maybe even, if there's anything around barrels or, a hot water heater might be a little, I don't know if this is a typical fantasy universe or whatever, where they wouldn't have something like a big metal cylinder, that we could use, but we could rope a bunch of barrels together. I'm not sure how big we are. I know we're probably not big.
Tiny, I think.
But
scrawny.
Pretty
Point
small.
is, one of those things we need to get is rocket housing, right? I mean, and where are we going to be fit? So we need like a housing for our rocket.
Yeah, there's just looking at the map, possible scenes we can do getting stuff. There's there's sites labeled as junk, garbage, filth. There's also they're the camp defenses. They might have wood or barrels, there we could take the wood off of.
Yeah. So I think definitely the junk thing is a great place to go look. Junkyard rocket sounds like something some goblins would make.
I'm just trying to think of because coming up with this these tasks and everything. I don't think it is going too far to say that, oh yeah, I know that over in that junk pile there's this thing we can use, and make that one of the subtasks, but I just can't think. I've been brainstorming to try to think of what we could actually use, and I haven't been able to actually think of anything.
Yeah. Again, it depends on how big we are compared to whatever. But if there's like a junkyard, and we can make it be whatever we want. I was just saying there'd be.
Yeah.
But I love to have like.
If there's like a grain silo.
Yeah, like a grain silo. I was just going to say that, or like a grain silo, or even a great big like water tower tank or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We could assume that there's an old beat up grain silo. Or what about? I keep thinking of modern things, but like look at fuel truck. Those great big like cylindrical. Semi trucks. If there's like some beat up old thing laying in the junkyard, who knows what kind of world these goblins live in, or whether it's post apocalyptic or fantasy or what, I don't know.
From what I've read, it looks fantasy. It does describe this world.
I don't read flavor text.
There are, I should mention, there are barrels of what is marked as TNT over at the camp defenses.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think we could, maybe the closest thing in our experience as goblins to what we're talking about is as a barrel, right? Maybe if we could try to make
that
like a
sense.
big enough barrel, if we could somehow make a great big barrel and launch ourselves in that.
Or if we make the rocket out of 4 different barrels so that we're each inside our own barrel and we have to attach them all together.
Yeah. It's like
maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay. So we have to steal. So the first thing we're going to have to do is, we can do it in any order. It doesn't really matter. But we're going to have to steal 4 barrels of TNT from the camp defenses, which I'm assuming are going to be guarded by a hobgoblin or something like that. So basically, the first task is going to be gathering supplies, it sounds like. So for the first task, I will write gather supplies.
Did you say within each of our 3 major tasks we have 3 smaller tasks, right? 3 subdivisions.
Stages.
Yes. Subtasks, basically. And one of those
3
subtasks...
stages and then 3 tasks, and each task has 3 stages. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
Yeah, I call them subtasks. But yeah, basically. And one of these subtasks is going to be to steal 4 barrels of TNT.
Now, is that specifically for the fireworks? Because I think we decided we were going to use the actual rocket fuel would be farts.
Yes. Well, the second
So the
stage.
Right. But
No,
the
we're going to just dump the
TNT
TNT. Because we're
just
stupid.
dump
We're just
it?
going to dump it out. Yeah.
Yeah, we value the barrels more highly. We've already got our fuel.
Well, does sound very in line for goblins.
God only knows what happens what fun we can have with sticks of TNT rolling around all over the place, or when we dump them out.
Yeah, well, and we'll just launch the rocket right on top of all the sticks of TNT. We don't even we'll just start going up and they'll all blow up. Who knows? But we will also have to procure fireworks.
Yes.
Where are the fireworks located?
Well, I think we will have to buy fireworks. I think it would be fun to try to steal or barter for fireworks, and I think we could accomplish that perhaps at the Dun Inn, where there's supposed to be bugbears there that kind of run the place, and you can get you can trade for all kinds of stuff there. I think I read that.
Okay,
I mean, that would give us some fun scenes there.
Yeah.
So steal the barrels of TNT from the defenses, barter with at the Dun Inn for fireworks.
Or steal.
Yeah. Procure is a great word because it
Or
covers all
procure,
that.
yeah.
Procure.
Get it somehow.
And then maybe, I don't know if this counts as a whole stage, but maybe the third stage for our task 1 can be figuring out how to, attaching all of these barrels together.
With the fireworks and without getting caught.
Yeah. I mean,
So
Right.
So yeah, so really, I mean, the gathering supplies, once we get the barrels and the fireworks, I don't think there's a third supply we need other than trying to make those supplies. If there's a third supply we need, that should be our third task, and then building the actual thing ought to be shunted into the second, quest. But if there's not a third thing we can think of that we'll need, unless balloons. That's the only. I had this idea of balloons earlier, but in case we were smart enough to realize we need to get back down, or if the rocket fuel all ran out, we might want a balloon to try to a fart-filled balloon.
Perhaps.
well, we may want to procure a can opener.
Oh,
in order
yeah,
to
you're
fuel
right.
The rocket.
Yeah, you're right. We talked about that. That's fun. Get a can opener. Is there a camp kitchen in this war camp, or is there a mess hall? Or
Oh, I'm sure there is.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything on the map specifically. Even the Dun Inn might have
there's-
one, but it's fun to go to another place.
Right. There's barracks. There's
Yeah, I bet they've got a mess
there's
hall at the
another-
barracks. Those guys got to eat their slop somewhere, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, if we have the... You're right, we're going to need the can opener. I'm glad you remembered that. So, I think we've got our first stage fairly well
First
defined.
task.
Gather our supplies. Which
First
is,
task.
Yeah. Steal the barrels.
Yep, gather materials.
Yeah, gather stuff. We need our... Number 1, 4 barrels of TNT. Steal them. Number 2, procure fireworks at the Dun Inn. And number 3, get a can opener at the barracks or some other place that's likely to have a can opener. That sounds like a good task 1.
All right, and task 2 will be, I assume, building the rocket.
Yeah, you'd have to build it. I'm assuming that goblins of ours will be dying all along each of these steps, all along the way. Well, yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So we're going to be blowing ourselves up.
Right.
All kinds of things gone wrong.
So, I think Lynn had it when she said, how do you attach 4 barrels together? Are we going to use tar? Are we going to try to tie them together? Just connecting 4 barrels into a rocket shape, making the barrel rocket itself,
Or we could either put them side by side or
That's true.
stack them on end,
Yeah.
knock off the ends and stack them together to make a long cylinder.
Yeah. Or like you said, we could put them in a cluster of 4 and like a revolver shape almost, you know what I mean? But I think that I like the long, bumpy looking, stacked barrels. So I think a good first stage might be to attaching the barrel, putting the barrels together, figuring out how to do that.
Yeah, I like that. Connecting the barrels somehow.
We just need more nails.
Okay. So we're going to stack them on top of each other then?
Stack barrels and connect them. Hope they...
I just put connecting, that way
Yeah, we leave some options
jump off
open.
that bridge when we get to it.
But I like the stack, yeah.
I do too.
And then maybe stage 2 on that could be filling with fuel, packing the fuel in
Yes.
the lower stages, figuring, packing it with fuel without killing ourselves. Because,
Yeah.
Fuel first stage. All right. And
and that only leaves us...
let's assume these are large enough barrels that we can all squeeze into one together.
Right.
Or either that or we can attach chairs to the outside.
That's actually a much more funny idea. Where we're all strapped to the outside.
Yeah, like a little harness on the outside of the...
Yeah, I love that.
barrel.
I love the visual
saddle.
of that in my brain.
Right. Well, maybe that's a good number 3. You could argue that, where did we get the chairs? We should have collected those. But this is a fiasco-like thing. We can all bring your chairs from home. You know what I mean? Everybody bring a chair, because that's a good stage 3 for the second task. We build the rocket. Stage 1, connect or stack barrels. Stage 2, pack it with fuel. Stage 3, attach chairs or places to sit. How are we going to stay onto it?
Or we could just tie ourselves to it for that matter.
We could sort of, just sort of condense some of that building. If we want to leave task 3 or stage 3 to finding a, or this could be part of the one of the stages of task 3, but just finding a place to launch the rocket. And I know what seems to be a perfect place for that on the map, because it's the magical explosion testing grounds.
Explosions, yeah.
A testing ground is, going to be perfect for launching a rocket, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we want to include that as the prep of building, or if we want to include that as part of the actual...
I think we should have that one of the tasks or one of the stages of task 3.
That's fine with me.
And even...
So, the overarching thing would be launching the rocket, but the stages we're going to have to do that, one of them is definitely going to be testing.
So, okay. So task 2, we are stacking the barrels and fueling the first stage with the fireworks. And then the final stage of that task could be taking the rocket to the...
right, how do we even get it there?
Oh, yeah.
Just transporting, all of us, there's... If you
It's
include,
gonna be funny.
there should be like 15 of us little goblins, if we're not dead yet, carrying that big thing, getting to launch site's a good step. 3.
Well, we'll have to roll it, or
Yeah.
we can get all kinds of hijinks going. Doing that.
Figuring out how to steer it. Maybe
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe one of us will just have like a little
Yeah.
steering
And
wheel from the junkyard.
And I agree that...
It doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, totally. And I agree that whether we tie ourselves to it or sit on it or whatever, all that can be subsumed into the first stage of just stacking the barrels and building the fucking thing, Then we'll try to pack it with fuel without dying, and then we'll try to get it to the launch site. And then we're prepared for task number 3, which is actually launching the rocket.
Launching.
Which would be,
Yeah.
I would say, maybe the stage 1, like just a successful launch, right? And then once we get it up, we need to keep fueling it with farts, but that could be just a narrative background thing, or I don't, or stage 2 could be just releasing the fireworks, and then stage 3 could be reaching the moon.
Yeah, there's a lot to consider because, you could say like one of the stages would be like getting to the atmosphere, and then
Is there even an atmosphere? Is it just?
Are they even going
ether?
to the moon? What? They might not even. Maybe they think something else is the moon, and it's not really the moon.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But definitely, I think we can agree. What we want to do is shoot up fireworks, make flowers in the sky. That satisfies, Lynn's clan. My guys at least think they're going to the moon. Whether they end up ever getting there or not. But whatever we call task 3 is launching the thing and doing whatever we think it's going to do. But I think just even launching it, just even a successful countdown, do we get up there or do we end up like Grissom, White, and Chaffee? That was in bad taste. Yeah.
Probably. Well, it's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
But yes,
It's not too soon.
I know the reference.
It's not too soon.
I was kind of thinking something along the lines of stage 1, ignite the first stage. Stage 2, the fireworks explode, and stage 3, ignite the second stage. The farts.
Stage of farts, and then after that to infinity and beyond, right? I mean, that'll be getting towards the end of the adventure. It could go anywhere, So
Yep.
And as this is sort of fiasco-like, and we will have a great deal of narrative freedom, who knows what'll happen once we actually get into it and start riffing around. This is probably more of a skeleton, right? Like a blueprint.
Yeah, because we have to keep in mind what we roll, which is going to be good or bad, so...
Which will give a plus or minus to, the next person or whatever, yeah. So, to the next scene, rather.
The fart stage for 3. Well, so...
Now, I think we need to roll to find out. I don't know. I mean, maybe we do this later, but you roll to find out your misfortunes and which stage they're going to be.
Correct. But I haven't finished writing down the stages of task 3. Are we going to go with what I said?
I was writing them down too.
I agree with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, second.
Okay.
We go successful launch, part 2 fireworks, part 3 the fart stage, and then ... question mark. After that, and then in terms of the misfortunes, I don't know what you're supposed to do. Whether we're supposed to plan out what our misfortunes are going to be, but I noticed there's.
Yes.
Dice, there's dice symbols next to them, and I mean, can we surprise ourselves with the misfortunes? It's almost too hard to anticipate the misfortune and come up with the clever way we're going to get around it way before it ever gets there. But I'm looking at it now, whether we're required to,
Well, I'm rolling now to see which stage of each task is going to get the misfortune. Okay. That is done, and now I can... Now, do you want me to tell you when these are going to be, or should it be a surprise?
I don't know. As the facilitator, I tend to leave that up to you. But in looking at a lot of these misfortunes, I don't see how they would even remotely apply to what we've come up with. You know, in stage 3... a wood elf magically animates a plant, and we're, up in the air. That might be tricky if we did leave it to chance. So that's a good question. Oh, wait, I just saw this sidebar. This says surprise. It could be fun to have the misfortunes come up as a surprise, but they do seem like they want them generated beforehand, even if you do that and flipped over. But I would suggest, as facilitator, that we'll allow Ryan to maybe secretly choose a misfortune, because that way he'll be able to tie it closer to what's happening. I don't know.
I think you can choose. Well, I don't know if I read that on the misfortune table or somewhere else, but there was some talk about choosing whatever fits best. Or sort of similarly vetoing anything that doesn't make sense. Like, how could a wood elf have a plant attack the... What does that bother us? We're like way the hell up over the camp right now. But other ones, like a mischievous gnome illusionist weaves some illusions confusing everyone, could be totally appropriate. For rocketing over the earth. So I don't have a problem with us sitting down and finding good ones, but I also kind of like the idea of being surprised by our facilitator a little bit, or even collectively coming up with something that seems funny in the moment. Maybe somebody could throw it out. As facilitator, what are your thoughts on that, Ryan?
Well, I have ruled, and I know when in each stage of each task there will be a misfortune. I don't want to roll for the misfortunes right now. I think I will just roll for them at the time, in the moment when that stage is happening, and see what comes up, and if it's funny, use it, and if it's not, just make some...
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why you pick up facilitator, and
sounds good.
If we're gonna have a facilitator, let's use him, and I just like the idea of it giving you that freedom in the moment to come up with
as long as we know, as long as we have picked which stage they occur at, then I think we've done what we need to do, as far as the rules are concerned.
Yeah. And do you guys want him to tell us what stage we're going to have the problems in each task, or do you want him to save that as a surprise too?
Surprise!
That works for me.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Yep, I'll go with surprise.
Because the thing is, like, obviously the chances of only one person doing each stage is pretty small. It's mostly probably going to have to be 2 or 3 people before you actually get a victory on that. So, and possibly more than that. I mean, even so, it may or may not necessarily happen on one person or another. It will happen when it's funniest, right?
Yeah.
Or when it is most inconvenient or whatever. So,
yeah, I think any game master or gaming group in the world would be cool with that, And so, no, I'm looking forward to it. It looks like we, in just about the time of a normal episode, we have managed to plan out our... Is there anything else we need to do I don't know about, or does that set us up?
We're ready to go as far as I am aware. I've never played this before. It's possible that I'm missing something that I should have, but I don't think so.
Long-term listeners will forgive us. We don't always get it 100%. That's okay. Yeah. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed listening to our setup, and I guess come back next week to see our goblins in action. I got to practice some goblin voices because it flat out it's very insistent in the rules that you use your high squeaky goblin voice. So
It is, and mine's gonna be nasal.
Yeah,
so
I got a figure.
preview for next week. I tried growly and hurt my throat.
No, every time I start to do it, I choke.
Join us next week, cause we're gonna gather supplies to build a fart rocket.
Fart rocket!
That makes pretty colors.
To the moon!
Hey everybody, if you like our podcast, don't forget to leave us a good rating and or review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Spotify, or wherever you're able. Subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter at Goonies_world, and check out our website at GooniesWorldPodcast.com. Email us at GooniesWorldPodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.